Intro.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Giga Rambles. I'm John Caspian.
I'm Mark Schubach.
I'm John Galvin.
And today we're giving a summary of January, what happened in the tabletop scene, the new releases that happened, some things that are coming out still before the end of the month, and then looking a little bit forward into February and some things that are coming up. So let's go ahead and start off with new releases because that is awesome.
Yeah, so new releases, things that we just got in this week, or I guess towards last week that we didn't have a chance to show off on the stream. Let's start with Warlords of Irhorn.
You want to show the starter box?
I mean, they're both starter boxes. There's one for skeletons and one for orcs.
Oh, geez, this one's taller. I just thought it was
it's just
a
all
two-player.
orcs.
How are we going to pronounce that? How do we pronounce it?
It's nowhere backwards. So Irahan.
I like that. Irahan.
Yeah, it sounds Lord of the Ringsy.
It's a lot of models, so you pay less than a model. If you will.
So we have basically two different starters in, one for the orcs, one for the skeletons, and then we have more or less two supplemental boxes for each of those factions, or one for each of those factions.
So
is a better way to say it.
If you have a D&D campaign where you want them to face armies,
Yeah,
it's also a great way to do that.
yeah. So I mean, like, these models are great for game systems outside of themselves, but to be like fully honest, it's done by Warlord, and they are known for making great historical tabletops.
Yeah,
Bolt Action. Bolt Action is one of the best World War II games out there, and it's 28 millimeters. And so they're kind of branching over into fantasy. So even if you're going to pick these guys up for, let's say, a different game, this is fantastic for you to learn and pick up, try the rules. And it gives a little breakdown, so it's kind of cool. So on the back, it will actually list the other armies coming. So if you guys are like, oh man, like, I'm not interested in skeletons. Things that you can look forward to, barbarians, beastmen, dwarves, elves, gnolls, which I think is kind of cool because that's kind of like their own.
Yeah, it's like beast goblins essentially to me.
Goblins themselves.
Yeah.
Halflings, which is always a fun one.
It's what fantasy used to have and a lot of people missed.
Yeah.
Kai, you did miss it. Sorry, Kai says that I missed them trying to say the name.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely.
Erewhon.
So knights are kind of cool in the fact that, like, this is going back to Bretonnian.
Yeah.
Olympians, which I think is also kind of a neat one.
Just everyone in togas, like, throwing shot put balls at their...
So the Olympians for this game is going to be like the small troop selection one. It's going to be mostly heroes and things like that.
Yeah, I can assume very Greek themed, though.
Yeah. Orcs, which we've seen.
Yep.
Undead. So it's not just skeletons that are coming for the undead. So expect like the whole host of like zombies and things like that.
Children of the Hydra's Teeth is what that skeleton host is called.
And then there's monsters. So monsters aren't a force in itself, but they're supplemental. So like you could bring dragons with your knights, or
dinosaurs.
It definitely,
who knows? Maybe
it definitely seems like they went more with a lot of the Greek themes, like Hydra's Teeth. The skeletons do have that Jason and the Argonauts look.
Yeah,
that John mentioned. Let's see if we can get the glare.
Yeah, so to me they look like
rounded shields,
the traditional like.
The scorpions painted, the bulls.
So even if it's an age which has knights, I mean, these skeletons have been long dead, right? So they might be from those Greek ages. But it's kind of it's really cool, and I love the fact that whichever one of the starters that you get, it's 90 miniatures for what, $80?
Yep.
And
91.
It's a huge bargain. So this is great for anyone looking to pick up those models. The skeletons are fantastic. The orcs I like because they're the low fantasy orcs. They're not the GW like green gorilla, style guys. So these orcs fit in a lot more fantasy, like a lot of other fantasy games as opposed to Games Workshop, which
mean I'm 4 times stronger than your average man, and I will beat a metal sword into shape so I can use it against you. It's like, no, these are the guys that like will scavenge what they can from societies. Obviously just raid, pillage what they can, and you expect them to live in like huts, but we'll group together with
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean,
I'll pop
like,
this
so
on
they
the
have their
screen
own
here real quick
like,
on the screen.
I just think Lord of the Rings when I see these guys.
Yeah,
like,
they do look very Tolkien-esque orcs, which is great.
So then this skeleton host is 90 of these guys. There's a mixture of pikes, swords, archers, and a necromancer.
Yeah,
and they also
I love
have
the fact
decals
that
here.
they have so with the swords and the bows and the spears and things like that, there's a lot of different varieties from different cultures themselves. So like it looks like these guys have been raised from every walk of life.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all, they just released on the 23rd. They released a spotlight of the barbarians, which all look
cool.
Celtic.
Ooh, that makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, super cool.
So yeah, we started carrying Warlords of Arohan, and come check it out. We'd love to see you guys try it out, give it a shot, experience a fantasy tabletop in a different way than you normally would. Bolt Action Warlord has usually this like really great dice system that affects like orders and morale and things like that. That is much different.
So for those of you that don't know, battlefields are chaotic. Like people, it's not like, for example, in some games you see someone say, "All right, it's my turn," and they'll wipe out a portion of the enemy army without any retaliation. But I mean, it's a tabletop game. It's never going to have ultra realism as far as what a battlefield is going to have. But the turn order is determined by a bag of dice. Like each player throws in however many orders they have into that bag, and then you draw one out. And what's neat is you can keep track of what you've done with the unit based off like what side of the dice you place next to the unit you activate. So you can say like, I ran these guys, which means next turn they can't do this or something of that description. But it keeps the activation switching between the two, but it's not always a you go, I go, you go, I go. It may be like I go, you go, you go, I go, you go, I go. Like it can just
random,
whatever the dice say, and that means that you can't anticipate having this order of activation like in a lot of other games. So you basically have to plan for not being able to plan in Warlord, and it's an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, so it's absolutely really cool. And Isaac, so the box sets, they are considered full armies, but I don't know if that is the standard game points, because usually, like these army boxes, like ready to go, are usually like a little bit below, so it gives you some wiggle room to like modify and change up your things. We won't really know until like we actually have a defined play group that tells you like, hey, what points are like set for like the tournament level or the standard play level, I guess is a better way of saying it. So yeah, so this game just dropped. We have these two armies in. John hopefully showed off the barbarians,
orcs, and skeletons.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, so we will have all these other armies in the future. So please come check it out. Ask us questions.
And they're Germanic. They're not Celtic because they have like headhunters and everything, and the guys who wear the wolf heads. So total Germans. I love it.
Yeah. So we'll move on to other releases that have popped up. The big one being Wrath and Glory has finally arrived here.
Yeah.
So this has been talked about on Games Workshop's website for a really long time now, and it's fantastic to get it here in the store. I picked up a copy for myself, and they released not only this, but the first campaign book called Dark Tides.
Ooh.
And so what I love about the Wrath and Glory set is that it really, really kind of encompasses 40K and how it works. What ends up happening is that you have tiers 1 through 4 in the game. So tier 1 is going to be your lowest level human, like guardsmen, like guys who basically have flashlights strapped to their guns, pushed out into the hostile universe and saying, good luck.
Yeah.
And then as you progress through the tiers, they're going to be more fearsome and comparable warriors coming out. So like at tier 4 is your Primaris Space Marine. So this is your augmented human. The best of the Imperium has to offer. The guy who is almost to demigod level in his own right. And then the other tiers are going to be things that fall in between that. So like a tier 2 character would be a guardsman who has gone through the ranks, who has some level of competence and ability to handle the universe itself.
Has upped that life expectancy from 5 minutes to a year or two.
And so it is one of those things which is really impressive that they have this tier system. So like guardsmen, scions, things like that fall into the tier 2. Psychers start showing up in tier 2.
You said like Tempesta Scion guys could end up in tier 3 if even they made it to the next level.
Yeah, and so tier 3 is going to be comprised of like, your aspect warriors of Eldar, your space marines, your chaos space marines, your psychers of that nature. So, and what this all means is when you run a campaign, you can set it as a tier campaign, right? So like you guys are playing a tier 1 campaign, you're only going to be playing like guardsmen and like maybe a craft world guardian or something like that. Yeah. Someone who is not viewed super highly amongst the stars, so to speak.
And for those of you saying like, okay, how does a Tempesta Scion can like be on the same tier as a Space Marine?
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, you can be augmented. The Evisor assassins, the guys with the skull masks, they had to send like a large amount of Space Marines from like the Imperial Fist after their training grounds or whatever where they're made, and for some heresy or something, they're like, just release all our Evisor assassins. And they're like, oh jeez, did not go well. I think one Space Marine survived after killing all of them because those assassins basically are designed to go nuts and burn out and die.
Yeah. And then also like having an unaugmented human in higher tiers, it's not just your physicality, right? It's going to be your ingenuity and your ability to access materials and things like that. So like you might have access to different weapons or different abilities than, let's say, a Space Marine who's really good at like murder.
Yeah, like wouldn't you want to say like Commissary Yarrick would be a tier 3 kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. So like not only does he have like a power fisty thing, but like the fact of the matter is he is a above normal leader of men. He is great at commanding and orchestrating and something like even a Space Marine would respect. But yeah, so when you play a game, you'll get a tier system. You'll be able to select your character archetype from that tier, and then play the game. And how it's set up is like, obviously if you're playing a Space Marine tier, then they're going to have appropriate challenges for a Space Marine.
Nice.
So it's not just going to be you plowing through everything. There will be at least a challenge there.
How many guardsmen can you get through? Traitor guardsmen.
Exactly. Right? And so other cool things about this game is that it is D6 only. It is a role-playing game that relies on one type of dice, which is a D6. And that to me is always impressive, like figuring out a system that works like that. And it also really differentiates itself from Dungeons and Dragons is our biggest role-playing game here. So, and that is your standard like polyhedral dice set game. So like you'll be using D6s, D20s, D8s, D10s, D12s, D4s, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of other games that have that dice system, or at least use that same dice set, will always draw comparisons to D&D.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is D6 and how it's like a skill check system, it really separates itself. So you're rolling multiple D6s according to your skill level, and you're looking for 4-ups for successes.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. So like, someone who's very accurate, let's say, will roll 8 dice, but the skill check's only 4. So that means they have to hit, on average, 4 out of 8 dice successful.
Yeah.
So,
Rob was saying there's something about, like, if you overdo it, like you do really well, you can bank something. You can bank successes.
Yeah.
I kind of made the joke of, like, I jumped over this ledge real quick, so I'm just going to take this pot shot at this one guy and hit him because I saved my successes from jumping. I know that's not how it works, but it's just that what I immediately imagined was, like, when you bank it, you can use it on anything.
Yeah, and so, I got the book and I'm reading through it, so I'm not, like, 100% a master of the rule set, but it's very cool, and we like the system. The book is gorgeous. It's filled with a whole bunch of new art for the world of 40K itself. So worlds, yeah, excuse me, the universe, the comprehensive 40K. So it's definitely worth checking out for anyone who's just a fan.
What races can you play, or what factions?
So races, it's human, Space Marine, because that's technically different. Chaos, so once again, getting a little bit on that different side. Then you have Eldar and Orcs.
What about Admech?
So me and Mark could play a game where we're just a band of boys.
That's cool.
Oh man, band of boys.
Yeah. So remember, our idea was to have a group of orcs and one guardsman wearing a cardboard mask of an orc who's convinced the other orcs that he's an orc.
That's a brilliant idea.
But for some reason, whenever they do orky things, he's like, man, you're not really good at this, are you?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, it's just a bad day for me. I got the cold or something.
So like you have the option of playing all these things, and it also kind of gives you hooks more or less to get these guys together. But so under the humans, it blows out. Like, there's so many different things that you can be as a human. You can be an inquisitor. You can play a Necromunda Ganger.
Oh, cool.
You can play a Scavvy. You can play like any sort of agent of the Imperium that you want.
Okay.
I don't know if Rogue Trader in there yet or not. I'd expect Rogue Trader to be its own supplement coming out. But there's a lot of ways. If it's an Imperium person that is a regular human, then there's usually a way to like work it in there. And for Space Marine, you can play as a majority of the chapters. And for Chaos Cultists,
they don't let you play every chapter. Or you mean like not?
Sorry, they have all the main like Legion chapters and like rules for those.
But it's not like Howling Griffin.
Yeah. Okay. Like you'd use that as a successor chapter, as like successor of Ultramarine. Sorry if that's not actually true, but but they bring up like mentors and like things like that. And then with Chaos, they don't do the legions as much, but they do the gods. So you're a follower of Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Slaanesh.
So one thing I will find interesting, since they now let you play as Primaris Marines, and Primaris Marines are basically hypno-indoctrinated.
Yeah.
Like, or you're supposed to just go through that with no emotion? Just like, is it for the power gamers? It's like, I don't want to RP, I just want to kill stuff.
No, so like they talk a little bit about Primaris Marines and like, what their deal is, but like think about playing like, you're playing the lawful good paladin at that point. It's not that you are like a robot at that point. It's just that you are so solidly in the Imperium side of things that there is no swaying you. There is no like chance of falling to chaos. Where like a regular Marine, like you might give in to that like bloodlust or like fall to the Black Rage.
So there's actually the same thing with the Stormcast Eternals. Or essentially like the primary. It's like you're indoctrinated. You are forged to love Sigmar essentially, and that's all you know. And
so like I don't necessarily take it as something disparaging to like role playing or anything like that, but it's very much like to do the comparison to D&D, which we worked earlier. It is very much playing that lawful character. Like you are so set into your faith that there is no swaying you. So but that doesn't mean that you don't lack choice, or you can't react to something differently than another Primaris can. Like there's still the human core of you that has that kind of your personality and your decision-making tree there. But yeah, so like the what I like is that Primaris are on this new tier, and they really kind of showcase how Primaris are different than regular Marines, especially in the tabletop way, because those who play the tabletop, obviously the older Marines have lots of options. The Primaris Marines have more wounds.
Yep.
That's what we know about them, right?
I do like the whole like I want a squad with all of this, and Primaris like can do that.
Yeah, and so this kind of builds up a little bit more of that lore and mentality of it, and also it also talks about the Great Rift and how that affects the Imperium and the galaxy as a whole, more so than what it does on the war front that we've been seeing a lot.
And that's the Dark Tides campaign?
Well, the Dark Tides is an additional supplement, and it goes from tier 2 to 4. So you can play just a tier 2 Dark Tides campaign, or you can go all the way through the book up to tier 4.
Nice. Start at tier 1, it just doesn't do
No. Yeah. So you start at tier 2 for Dark Tides.
Cool.
So you're a guardsman that isn't going to die immediately.
Yeah. And so tier 2, like the threat is something against the Imperium. It has to deal. I think the Inquisition bands people together for that one.
Yeah. That would make sense.
So I haven't read too much into that because I'm not sure if I'm running it or playing it into it. So I don't want to like read all the story and be like, I know what to do.
I can just imagine like Inquisition shows like, I have come for my ties. Make sure they are ready.
Yeah.
And then they just throw you in a room with your friends.
And so one of the reasons why I think it starts at tier 2, and this is like the introductory book, is tier 2 lets you play as a Space Marine Scout. So the folks who are really set on playing a Space Marine still get to
Space Marine Scouts.
Yeah, get to do that. So like you get to come in and be like, all right, cool, I'm going to be a salamander. They're like, well, you're a salamander scout. And you're like, okay.
So I've always had interest in human reactions to Space Marines.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's essentially the space peasant in 40K who don't know nothing but his farming and his life in the fields. And when Space Marines show up, they're like, oh yeah, the Emperor sent his angels, and well, there ain't no arable land no more, but I'm gonna keep trying to eke out my living. But anyway, like humans have this concept of like Space Marines are this godly creature created by their god, and when they see it, they're blasted away. And even guardsmen have mentality that Space Marines are just a tier above them. And then you look at Inquisitors or Commissars who just treat them as an asset of the Imperium, so you have this break in this mentality towards Space Marines. So you'll have like Guardsmen just looking up, oh, it's Big Brother Space Marine.
And Inquisitor's like, yeah, wrap it up, let's go.
It's like, tell your chapter you're coming with me. Like,
but yeah, so it'll be really cool to see like how people get to role play the universe and all that. And the fact that you get to kind of put all these characters together in a way that you wouldn't necessarily see on the tabletop, to me, is really exciting. It's really, really cool. Because I've been listening to a lot of the audiobooks lately, and they do a great job of adding personality to these Space Marines, but also making guardsmen have personalities, lives, and like, hopes and dreams and things like that. The 5 seconds before they get shot, but it gives them a way to relate to those Space Marines, and it shows you the difference between them, which is really cool. And I'd love to see that on the table. So we are going to hopefully run the Dark Tides campaign, and we're going to be doing a podcast with it. It'll be me, David, Mark, Daniel, and hopefully Rob. All of our 40K guys who are up on the fluff, and maybe even John too.
I'm up for it.
We'll
I'll be the announcer.
Hopefully, putting it out for you guys, and hopefully have you guys listen to it and have a good time.
It'll be awesome.
In a world. Anyways, so Wrath and Glory came out. We're all super excited about it. I know Emily. I can't remember her last name. Emily's been coming up every Monday running a Wrath and Glory campaign.
It's awesome.
Here at Gigabyte. So if you guys are interested, swing up on a Monday. Check it out. She's been doing a fantastic job of promoting it, and she is probably more in touch with the rules than anyone else here. So her last name begins with a K. I can't remember if it's like Cope or Nope. But anyways, check it out Monday.
K.
But we'll move on to other new releases. One of the big ones is going to be our Kawaii shirts that we just got in.
Come on, Mark, get it
on the shelf. So this design was done by our own Rachel. She's our employee here. Hopefully most of you guys have met her.
She's awesome.
She did a super cute reimagining of the Gigabytes logo, and we got it printed out on some shirts, hoodies, tank tops, all in bright pastels. They look super great. I know a lot of the staff have purchased them, and we're hoping that you guys like them too. We have them here at the store, or you can go to giga-swag.com to check them out.
That's really...
Yeah, you're going to have to get it pretty close to the camera. Go to giga-swag.com to really check it out. There you go.
Look at that. It's precious.
You can get it nice. Sleeveless tank top if you're...
So funny story while you're showing that off. Someone locally here in Cincinnati just was like, have you guys seen Brother Steve? And I'm like, I made those videos. He's like, what?
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's cool.
So yeah, guys, check out those new things.
I love the tank top colors. It's really nice.
Excited to have new art here at the store and promote our other employees. So
what colors do the tank tops come in and stuff? Pink, blue?
So yeah, you can get them pink, blue, yellow. I want to say either black or green, but we'll check on the color options there.
All pastels? Nice.
Almost all pastels. We do offer a black option for a lot of our shirts, just because gamers like black T-shirts and hoodies and clothes in general. So
nice.
Nice. Yeah, once again, check it out at giga-swag.com. So yeah, we'll move on to this week's releases, which is new Underworld. Hey!
We got the warband and the troll warband.
The Dark Oath and the Malag.
Yeah.
Malag's warband. I don't know if it's any fancier than that.
No.
So these are done in two different ways. Very different. Malag is like the first of his kind to see Shadespire. He's just one big guy with little tiny supports.
Yeah.
And then the Dark Oath warband is also very different in terms of how they like inspire and change, and it's all based on upgrades.
Yeah, I like to think of it as scavengers.
So you said it perfectly the first time, where they only inspire when they get a blessing from their god.
Yeah.
Nice.
So they're all the Chaos guys are all out there. They're regular humans, so they're kind of seeking appraisal from their dark gods.
Yeah, like their Dark Oath because they swore an oath to their gods. Like, I will promote your whatever machinations you wish to transpire. I'll be there for that. You just gotta give me the feel good juice. Give me the demon princehood.
And that causes them to inspire. And then Malag is very different because he is. So normally, like the warband, the power of the warband is usually distributed relatively evenly amongst its people. This time, Malag is the dude. It is only Malag, and he gets a little bit of support from the squigs and the cave dwellers that he has with him. So
just do the one ring quote, but replace the ring with a troll.
Yeah,
one troll.
He can literally one-shot anything else in the game, right?
Correct. Yeah. If he rolls well enough, it's game over, baby.
Yep. He unless you give your guy extra wounds, he'll one shot you.
Yeah.
That is a possibility.
But I think he also has upgrade cards that give him extra damage and stuff. So
correct. Yeah. Yeah. He has a card that bumps up his damage. He has a card that does a whole bunch of other stuff.
Now his condition for switching to Inspire is takes 3 or more wounds.
Correct.
So he has to take damage, and then he'll level up.
Yeah. And to be fair, he has the most damage out of anyone in Shadespire.
7 wounds.
Yeah. And so when he inspires, the rest of his warband inspires. And once again, it takes something that is a nuisance and turns it into a threat. So it's really important to look at it that way, which is really kind of cool. So these warbands drop on Saturday. So be sure to check them out. They work not only in Shadespire, / Underworld / Night Vault, but they work in Age of Sigmar as well.
Can you run him with your troll?
Yeah, no. He's in the Gloomspite Gets book as an HQ option.
Nice.
How much is he? Oh, I won't say the price. You got to figure it out in the general sense.
No, he's 170 points.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's 170 points. He comes with the squigs. However, his squigs in Age of Sigmar don't count as models. They give him extra abilities, and they're ablative wounds. So whenever you move him, the squigs go with him, kind of thing.
Okay.
Gotcha.
They don't actually count as being there.
There's a little squig retinue.
Yeah. And the Dark Oath band counts, I want to say, as Slaves of Darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they are.
And once again, they can be used in your Chaos list. They're really cool. And the same thing with any other warband that has come out. When you buy the character, even though the character might be a leader or a hero or whatever, it unlocks everything else in the purchase of just the character. So, like, you buy the leader of the Dark Oath, she has her warband come with her for free. So, it's really cool. Yeah, and so we have those two guys coming out, plus their card sleeves, plus their dice. And there's another big release coming up soon. What is it? Is it Kill Team Arena?
Gene Stealer Cults.
I know they're doing the AdMech thing. And
so next week is when the Gene Stealer Cults and the Theta 7, I want to say is what it's called. The AdMech box comes out
for Kill Team.
Yeah. No, Dr. Eggman. Got to get those calcium rolls.
Now these boxes come with the Frontier playset. So the Frontier playset is the one that has like kind of, I mean, they paint them reddish and it's got like a desert theme to it. And so these cultists have that cool gunslinger with 3 arms and three pistols.
Yeah. And so what they're talking about, the Frontier like map and playset, is this is outside of the civilized areas on Vigilus, which is really important story-wise for what's going on in the 40K universe right now. So Vigilus is kind of a big deal in terms of the story right now.
Only because GW made it that way.
Yeah, it's like they have control over their story. So you get to see a little bit more of that planet through the Frontier playset, and then also we'll be seeing the rules for Kill Team Arena coming out soon, which is going to be the standardized tournament setup for Kill Team. So we have the narrative leagues going on right now with Kill Team, which is really, really cool. But we'll be having tournament play for Kill Team once that arena box set comes out, because it'll standardize the rules for more or less everyone playing arena at a competitive level. And the rumors are pointing that it'll be very close to how they did it at Nova.
Okay.
So, yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
It's really exciting. That box set, I want to say, is $90. For the Kill Team Arena, we're still taking pre-orders for it. It comes with a rule packet, comes with terrain. I don't believe it comes with any models. It just kind of comes with the terrain board and kind of tells you how to set up a Kill Team tournament terrain loadout, so you have things nice and balanced.
So one thing I would like to do with the Gene Stealer cult is run. So for example, so you know how they have the dark guard or whatever, the Chaos Imperial Guard. So what I'd like to do with the Gene Stealer cult is basically not run them as Gene Stealers.
Yeah,
like just like design the models to be essentially people outside Hive cities.
Yeah,
that are, because they have the look with all the new models coming out, just like dune buggies, bikes, and everything. These look like people that would just try to live on the fringes of a Hive city.
Yeah, and so one, you can easily do that. You might have to do a little bit of work for the aberrants.
Yeah.
But look into that, because that would be a really cool conversion process. All you have to do is buy some guardsman heads to swap out the ridge
and
ones.
Like the third arm that you're saying holding the pistol, you can easily take that from an AdMech guy. Like
yeah. That'd be fantastic. Yeah. But they do talk about how they get all their equipment from the Mining Guild. And so you can just run it as Mining Guild, the faction.
Yeah.
You know, so I would love to see that, especially with all their cars and tanks and things like that coming out. And you might be able to even run a list that doesn't use aberrants at all.
That's true.
Or
bikers and
the vehicles, and then the regular guys, like the troop guys, as opposed to the bigger mutated ones.
Yes, and they could be like just wasteland raiders.
Exactly.
Outside of Hive City. We go.
So cool.
Yeah.
Do it my way.
Yeah. So
is aberrants the ones with the big hammers, right?
Correct. Aberrants are the ones with the big hammers. Metamorphs, I want to say, are the slightly larger ones.
The Golgar, the Necromunda gang with the big beefy guys. You can run those.
Oh yeah.
Goliaths, yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Press F to get Mark to start this Mad Max army.
Oh boy.
So
I'm gonna go ahead.
Those aberrants are beastly. So I played last Friday against Gene Stealer cults with Index, and they're still strong. Yeah. I got one-shotted with my Trajan. Got one-shotted by a squad.
Whew.
They're brutal.
I know all about getting one-shotted.
So yeah, it's really important for you guys. I mean, it's not really important. It's really cool that these guys are coming out, and then I love seeing creativity from Mark, and then like also our own Rob Bristow, who's been modding the heck out of everything.
The Dark Mechanicus.
Mark, it looks like you got to do it.
Ah, shit.
Looks like Mark's getting a new army.
Oh boy.
So we've been trying to get Mark into 40K to play with us for a little bit.
Come on, Mark.
So, yeah.
What are you waiting for?
Definitely steal pieces from them.
If you're worried about model count, just do custodians like me.
No, he's just going to buy tanks and vehicles like that for his Mad Max army.
It's awesome.
Oh man, can we use the first Gene Stealer cart, the truck one? Can we make a doofwagon out of that?
Yeah. That's always been an orc thing, but with this, I guess we'll have
to. So I felt like the orcs would be like the toofwagon. But we'll help Mark mod his guys and hopefully get them painted and such. So, and this will also help Mark practice airbrushing.
Yeah.
So
Mad Mark's army.
Yeah.
Mad Mark.
I think David said that.
Done. All right.
Mad Marks. But MARX.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're just gonna add an R to
Mad Max. It's the consortium, the People's Republic Mining Guild. But yeah. all the stuff is really cool. We expect to see more and more Gene Stealer cult stuff come out in the next week or so. I would expect on Sunday getting the official preview for the new rule book and like that. So yeah, please come check it out, and we'll be pretty happy.
Before we segue to like things like Dust, we don't sell Forge World, but there are Forge World rules they just dropped for all of the custodies for Forge World. So if there's any beta rules at all, y'all holler at me so I can make sure we feature beta rules. But some of these newer models look pretty good. I like my regular custodies though. My custodian guards are where it's at.
Whoever photoshopped Brian Blessed's face from Flash Gordon onto all the custodian flyers is my personal hero. Just yes, we need more of that always and forever.
Yep. But we have some Dust here. I got the list pulled up of the Wave 11 releases. So we have the IJN Ninja Infiltration Squad that's in their own box, which, by the way, these are some of the most amazing models I've ever painted in my life.
Yeah, no, that's
I haven't been painting for long, but I painted a lot of models already in the short time I've been painting. You can go to get the Tengu and in Raw Medium Walker. That's the one with the big old rail rifle. There's a house there as well. It looks like Angela Wolf, which is the sniper, and then Rosie.
Oh, cool.
So, and then the Steel Guard headquarters. That is awesome. So the Steel Guard headquarters are all the dudes in the walking tanks, basically. Sorry, walking mechs. So you get Guilo and then the command squad. Some Spetsnaz stuff. So y'all take a look at that. Look up Dust USA on Facebook and take a look for all that.
Sniper.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Steel Guard headquarters. Boop boop.
It's gonna be awesome.
They never die.
Yep. Some USMC, some Marine Corps releases, which are really good. The Barking Dog / Mickey is a very good artillery piece. USMC headquarters is important because I need it. So in terms of that gameplay, they have these cool bazookas, which are like a long-range anti-tank. They actually have a range 8 compared to all the other anti-tank, which are like range 3 for the other factions. So
yeah,
Ian, walking tanks is pretty much Spetsnaz.
I did, and they have the unlimited range. That's a decent range there, I would say.
Yep. But headquarters are really important for your action economy in Dust, just because you're able to do special commands like reactivate a squad, and that is huge.
I know that's dangerous.
Dust. Yep.
So in Dust, I would say usually the threat range of things are easy to calculate. There's usually just like, it's linear. I move up the distance and I do that. But with the opportunity to reactivate units, it really makes your opponent think twice about leaving models in, I guess, more prone areas.
Yep.
Outside of buildings, but around corners when, if you can move twice and shoot them, they no longer get that cover bonus. I think putting in headquarters like that for every faction is going to be a good thing for the game. It creates that, what if I get this? I will have to anticipate that, or, I'll risk it. And I think risk-taking is one of the funnest things you can do in a tabletop game.
Oh, dude, there's so many times I've won games because I was risk-taking.
Oh, yeah?
In fact, to me, like, yes! Dust is so well-balanced that I have played games where I was like, I'm going to play a cheesy list, like one that I know is going to win. And then it comes down to, like, one model against one model.
Yep.
Or I took a list that I thought was underpowered and still did really well.
I kind of did that with War Machine Horse games I played, where I took 6 Riphorn Satyrs in a list, and it was hilarious. I took a list that was janky, where they could, if they were hurt, they could move towards the enemy model that hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
And their Animus, which I could cast for free. Like, this is all just a combination of patching everything together. They could punch whatever hurt them. So whenever something hurt them, they'd walk towards it and punch it. And I had enemies jump behind them and hit them, so they just turn around and punch it. So no matter what, I just had these giant goats. It's like, if you hurt me, I hurt you back. Let's keep going. And so just a whole bunch of goats stampeding across the battlefield, punching whatever punches them.
That is amazing. So for the last few minutes of our podcast / live stream, if you're listening to this podcast later on, let's talk about some events that are happening. So if you're listening to this, it's either happening today, tomorrow, or has already happened, which is the Lord of the Rings Middle-earth Strategy Battle Games Tournament. So do you know how many players we have for that already? Several dozen?
We do?
A lot, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
I've been signing up like nonstop for like 3 weeks.
Oh, nice. So yeah, just 3 weeks of people constantly calling in the sign up. So John has the number listed as a lot.
Yeah. So I don't have like numbers.
But he's unpacking stuff right now, so you can't see. But we did just get these 2 things in. So for the Star Wars Legion players, we just got these
specialists.
Yep.
Show me the back of that box, please.
Bam.
Oh my gosh.
And we also got the Rebel specialist as well.
I always want that. What's the droid? The probe droid that not the probe droid. The one that the interrogation droid in Episode 4.
Yeah.
With Leia. I've always wanted that one as a model. Dude, that's amazing. Is that one of them?
Okay, yeah, there it is.
So our own Matt Blaisdell was one of the testers for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also he's running events for Star Wars Legions.
That's right.
Very nice. Yeah, no, it seems Matt Blaisdell has been our expert on anything Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, X-Wing. He was like, I'm good at that, I guess. And he's like, Armada. It's like, champion? Maybe not the most recent. I know he I guess. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, regional competition.
Right.
But, and so now he's heading up Legion. I think the only game I haven't seen him play for Star Wars has been Imperial Assault, which has been one of the ones I've been curious about, mainly because...
Have you not played it?
You can run Stormtroopers, which... Even when I played Destiny, I played an all-Stormtrooper list.
Mm-hmm. It's very fun. It's very fun. Imperial Assault is awesome, especially playing as the Imperial.
And then for those that are...
ooh, yeah, show me that.
Yeah, curious about BattleTech. I don't think they really, at least when I saw it come in, like they really had starters for BattleTech. But
look at those models.
They finally have a beginner box that really gets you into it. And they definitely, the cards look like they're a lot more intuitive. I'd always seen people print out sheets.
Mm-hmm.
And the cards they have on the back definitely look like they're better for, obviously, like it says, a beginner box.
And so that beginner box comes with 2 models.
Yep.
A little play set.
Get closer up on those cards.
Some basic
so
rules. Yeah, I see
cards
that.
With it. They have the grid. They have the picture of the row next to it. And obviously, $19.99.
So we have starters arrive next week. So I guess are those previews or those for demos?
It looks like it because you have that map to start with. You have little.
And then how much is that going to be?
$20. That's
wow. Now that is an interesting concept. So most starters tend to be a little more than like a small unit box. But to have a starter like that is very interesting.
Catalyst games. I was gonna say like the D&D starter that came with the pre-made characters and everything. Like, it's so just with the start collecting, which gives you a whole bunch of models that it was $85. I don't know if they've upped the price yet on that.
So starter set is $59.99. David says in the.
But I mean, like for start collecting on Games Workshop product.
Oh right. Yeah, I think they're going to be going up.
And that was just ease of entry. So people are realizing if you want people into a game, you can't say, "Hey, spend half your paycheck on getting this."
Right.
It's just people are willing to spend maybe like it's just like a Starbucks coffee, for example. Like I'm going to spend $5 a day. And after a week, that's $25. So they're willing to just, I want to say throw away, but they're willing to take a loss. Like budget. There we go. Is the good term. $25 for things that aren't necessities in life. It's not the roof over their head. It's not necessary food, but like this is really how you get them in. Is like, I can spend my, let's just say it's coffee money on a BattleTech beginner box because I love the lore, I love the fluff, I read the stories, and it's not going to break my bank. And then once they get that, it's just like, I'll buy this model. But next week they buy this model. It's just not that, hey, you owe us $500 to get in this game. Shock value.
So interestingly enough, that's that same concept. Actually, I recently got a VR. Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we just got a restock Cruel Season.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people were waiting on it. So I wanted to show it off before we go.
Thank you, John. Thank you. So I recently got a VR headset, and the same thing is a lot of people are like, do I know that the games are going to be good once I get the VR headset? You know, which are the best games? Or, like, am I really going to be able to get my money's worth from buying this VR headset? Is what I saw online when I was researching it and everything. Because it's at a minimum $400 as a starting point for a VR headset. You know, but be able to get like a small starter box or beginner's box in this case for BattleTech is great.
Yeah. I've heard horror stories with the VR about people being like, yeah, I finally got my VR and it makes me nauseous. Like, I can't use it at all.
So I worked on cruise ships, so my inner ear is like impenetrable. It's I literally don't get motion sickness at all. So
I get motion sickness.
Yeah.
I can do roller coasters, so I think I might be able to do VR.
Yeah, this is more like you're flying in an airplane and like you're doing barrel rolls and stuff. They don't call them barrel rolls in real life, but...
So, for example, on ships, I'm usually fine, but as soon as they slow down and it starts rocking back and forth, but if it's just constantly moving and it'll sway back and forth a little bit, I'm fine.
And the front of the ships is the ones that go the most. So, like, the front will go up and down a whole lot because they're hitting the waves and it's the one that's moving most.
It's
so
the one
don't be in the front, be in the back. Yeah. Cool.
Oh,
so I think that covers everything for our January new releases. We'll be back next week, next Friday morning for February, and then you know, talking over new stuff that's coming out because every week is more and more stuff. So it's very exciting. Anything else, y'all, before we leave?
Yeah, just remember this year is going to be the year of the community.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just try to support that. Try to be the player your mom thinks you are.
What?
All right.
That's good, Mark. That's good.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye, everyone.